A food chain shows how each living thing gets food and how nutrients and energy are passed from creature to creature. Some food chains begin with plant life and then they end with animal life. Some animals eat plants and then some animals they eat other animals. For example, water, soil, nutrients and sunlight provide energy for a plant to grow. A grasshopper then eats the plant. The grasshopper is then eaten by a shrew, which is then preyed upon by a hawk. When the hawk dies, its body is decomposed by fungi in the soil. A food chain, however, is only one chain in a larger matrix of chains. This is called the food web. In the above example, the grasshopper could also be preyed upon by multiple different species, which are all part of different food chains. The real message that we're trying to take out of this is that survival is about energy.
In order to survive, all species need to acquire and then consume as much as or more energy than they burn off. This is called the Optimum Foraging Strategy, or the OFS. Now this makes perfect sense because if we burned off more energy than we could consume for an extended period of time, then obviously we wouldn't last very long. Starvation would set in, we wouldn't be able to move or defend ourselves, and we would end up as some other creature's little snackette. Now, as humans evolved, we evolved alongside our food sources, and we have adapted to the foods we have found energy and nutrient rich, which also means we actively sought out these foods. When considering the optimum foraging strategy, it also makes sense that we selected foods that gave us the biggest bang for our buck from a nutrient density and energy perspective. Today we have two problems with regards to the OFS, the optimal foraging strategy. Number one, we don't need to forage or hunt for food, thus energy expenditure is no longer a serious problem. As you know, we can just basically drive to the supermarket or have food directly stuffed in our faces. Number two, the food choices we make are often energy rich but nutrient poor and far removed from our ancestral evolutionary roots. This is a more modern invention, and much of the advice we receive about what we shouldn't eat is misleading, if not just entirely wrong. So before we take a look at our current diets, we're going to look back through history at the foods we actually evolved eating.